Hey y'all, welcome back to Dots and Beyond. My name is Beth, and I want to talk about a couple of things in this video. First is going to be sort of a journal update with the 3 journals that I have here. Along with that is going to come a life update, and then we will actually show you my May setup. I've already got it done, so this is not a plan with me, but we will go ahead and flip through that. So let's go ahead and get started. First up is my reading journal, and we are not going to peek too much into this. I'm going to do another video on my reading journal altogether. I had intended to do a quarterly wrap up at the end of March, but as you guys know, my job has been a little less than ideal, working, 80, 90-hour work weeks, that sort of thing. Reading's not been high on my priority as much as I wanted it to be on my priority list. So what I have done differently, I did go ahead and add this Tolkien sticker for Not All Who Wander Are Lost on the front of it, but we'll have another reading journal update coming as soon as I can get my content planner figured out. So we're going to go ahead and stick this one off to the side. This journal you have not seen. So along with all of the things that have been going on, I have started a new job. So I finally threw in the towel with a lot of venue event managers around the country and changed jobs. Now, if you've been here for a little while, you know that I changed jobs in September. But for the last few years, as an event manager, I have been in venue management. So when you come into a convention center or a hotel where the events are taking place, I am the person that is coordinating things on the floor there. And it has just gotten so out of control in regards to being able to hire people post pandemic. The hours that event managers are working are not conducive, and I really felt like we can't all leave, right? But eventually I had to do what was best for me. So I have gone back to the planning side of events, and I have taken a new job, and I have been there for 2 weeks, and I have worked 2 normal 40-hour work weeks, and I have gone home on the weekends. So while I do sort of miss the excitement of venue management, it is definitely the best decision for me. I am still recovering from a multitude of things. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice. It might still be a little scratchy, but in the midst of all of the crazy, I ended up with a sinus infection that just could not be cured. It was not COVID. We double checked that multiple times. But 3 rounds of antibiotics later, 6 to 8 weeks of sickness, mainly because I could not take the time off to heal. And that was really a lot of the catalyst. I've really never had a problem finding a job. I am very good at what I do, and so I do appreciate that. When I put a couple of feelers out there, I immediately had a couple of interviews, and within a day or two, I had a new job. So we're going to peek at this journal. This is my new work journal. It is very minimal because I am beginning to think that come January of 2023, I may be able to take my work journal and my personal journal and recombine them again and keep my journaling habit, my productivity habit all in one location. I haven't quite figured that out yet. So this is an Archer and Olive journal, like all of my personal journals are. I just love their products. So you can pick this up on the Archer and Olive website. I am an affiliate with Archer and Olive. You can get 10% off your order with the code DMB10 if you love this gorgeous green journal and would like to pick one up for yourself. So here on the inside, I just did a quick nameplate. I have covered up my phone number and email so that you cannot see those. Here is my key, and then I just put this little quote on the right side that says, "When you feel that you have reached the end and that you cannot go one step further, when life seems to be drained of all purpose, what a wonderful opportunity to start all over again, to turn over a new page." And that is by Eileen Cody. So it just seemed like a perfect quote to go forward. Over here, I do have my key and a little bit of a grid guide that I refer to occasionally. I don't use it as often as I used to when I first started journaling, so I do make it as minimal as possible. On the next page, I have my values, and you've seen these before if you saw any of my other work journal setups. And then here are the values for my employer, and I try to match those up as much as possible. I also always include some sort of Myers-Briggs assessment, my personality assessment, in my work journal, just as a reminder of what sort of personality I have and then how I need to approach others who have obviously a different personality type. Over here is a spot for me to track hours for continuing education for my certified meeting planner certification. This will be goals and a 30, 60, 90-day plan. Again, I have been in my job for less than 2 weeks, so I'm getting ready to fill these out, but I have not yet done that. And then this is clipped together. We're going to skip the next page for a couple of reasons. One of them on the left side of the page is a list of team members, and I've already filled that out, and I don't want their personal information out there. On the other side of the page is a map of the location that I have gone to because it is very large and very confusing. There are underground tunnels to get from building A to building D or vice versa, and it would just be very clearly identifying of where I am and that sort of thing. So I did skip that as well. Here is my future log, and I just picked it up with May. I started my job on the last week of April, so I picked up my future log with May. I still have one page I need to fill out, so here's a sticky note with what the holidays are going to be. And there's already some things I need to stick on this page, so I do need to round out my future log and get that done. And then I started very minimally with April and just a quote to get me into April, and then I have been doing daily logging. So here is Monday, the first day that I worked, Tuesday, the first day that I worked, and of course I've covered up that information. And for now, that's what we're doing. I did not do a monthly sort of dashboard setup. I have just gone straight into monthly logging in my work journal or daily logging, in my work journal until I figure out exactly how I want to use this for the rest of the year, and then whether I'm going to combine it with my personal journal in January. So, exciting news. I'm getting to sleep at night. I am getting to work normal hours like a normal human. I am still in what I call very much of a recovery process. And we'll talk about that in my personal journal for the next couple of months moving forward. I was beyond burned out. For those who've been here for a little while, you know that I do live with bipolar disorder, and my mental health, because of my job, was just it was shattered. I'll be honest. I have not been in a good place. So let's go ahead and move on to my personal journal. And here is my lovely Archer and Olive Plant-Based Bride journal. You cannot get this journal. It was limited edition, but I am so glad I was able to grab one. It is a B5. It is definitely much larger. I'm enjoying the extra space, but sometimes I don't know what to do with it. But let's go ahead and talk about what I'm going to do in my personal journal. We're getting ready to wrap up this journal. This journal, for those of you who don't know, was named Shirehe. I have been celebrating festivals and that sort of thing around the world for 2022, and I have gone ahead and set up May. But let's go ahead and talk about March and April. So March was the Holy Festival is what I celebrated, and April was Earth Day. Y'all, I've barely touched my journal. I just haven't been using it because I haven't been home in order to work on personal projects, to work on things that are important to me, like this channel. So those are the things that are changing. So what has happened in the first 5 months of 2022? I completely scrapped my content calendar because I did not have the time to create content. So I need to get my content calendar put back together and figure out how things are going to go moving forward. It's going to take me a little time to build it back up. So you guys just hang in there with me and we will get to that. Another one of the things that I want to do with my content calendar is start talking a little bit more about mental health and my bipolar disorder and how journaling can help us overcome that. Again, Archer and Olive's got some great programs going this month for Mental Health Month. Again, I'll have our journal linked below if you want to use any of those resources, if mental health is also important to you. But let's go ahead and peek at May. And for May, I have gone to France. So my setup for May, if I can get to it, is the Cannes Film Festival. And as you can see, I mentioned I already have that done. The Cannes Film Festival, of course, is highlighted predominantly by not just the films, but by the red steps of the theater and the fashion. So that is what I have chosen to focus on for May. I designed these pages before I knew I was going to have a new job, before I knew I was going to have time to focus on me, before I knew I was going to have the time to focus on my content creation and what I want to do with Dots and Beyond. So this is very much set up like January through April would have been. I am changing things for June, and then June will be the last month in this journal, and I'm already planning what the back half of the year is going to look like in my personal journal, and it's going to be very Beth focused. It's going to be about healing and focusing on me and focusing on self-nourishment and how I can get myself back to being me. Because again, I have just been annihilated by this pandemic and the 2 years that have carried on after it, and going back to work and not having enough staff, and it's just not been a pretty situation. So as we discuss these events, I'm going to keep my festival and event theme through December. They might be a little more simplified than some of these others have been. There is my Earth Day cover page. They may not be this big and vibrant. I might pull back just a little bit and make them a little cleaner and more elegant and less splashy, just so that I have a little more time, as well as making things just a little simpler on myself moving forward for a little bit. So there's going to be a lot more in my journal that crosses over with my mission of not just bullet journaling and planning, but also focusing on some mindfulness. So that's what we're going to do moving forward, but let's go ahead and look at May. So this is my May cover page. I kept it fairly simple. My color palette for May is going to be the red, white, black, and gold. And of course here I have just some stars and a moon for the gold elements, with the Cannes Film Festival carpet and some fashion. Turning the page, this is my calendar setup. I struggled with these film strips. I struggled a lot with these film strips. I don't particularly love them. I couldn't get the edges clean and straight like I wanted them to be. It was just kind of a hot mess. So I ended up tracing them in gold. Didn't love that either. You're going to see a palm frond pop up every now and then. And of course, that is also associated with the film festival and the Palme d'Or award that they hand out. But this is my calendar. I've got some of the moon phases here, and then important dates, events, and some of my personal goals. I have got a list of those that I'm ready to fill out. I am filming this on May 7th, probably the very day that this is going to go up. So I've been keeping some notes somewhere else so that I didn't fill all of this in and expose all my personal information to everyone. But I will do some back planning for those of you who may be new to the bullet journal community. Sometimes we just have to go back and back plan and get things filled in where they need to go, depending on your time level or how much time you've had to fill things in. So here is my current calendar. This is my lifestyle. So I do have a mood tracker that I set up for a full year in the beginning of my journal. And we'll talk about it when I get to my journal flip through for the half of the year. I abandoned it. Let's be real here. And again, part of that was not necessarily the fact that I just abandoned that habit tracker. It was more about the fact that I just didn't have time to fill it in. So I have added some things to this one to track my steps because I am, again, no longer a venue manager. So I am not on my feet almost 24 hours a day. I have to consciously now get up and move. I used to easily hit 20,000 steps, 40,000 steps, depending on the size of an event that I had in a day. And now getting to 5 is difficult. So I have added a steps tracker so that I can make myself get up and move. Have not been drinking as much water as when I was pacing around a building. So I've added a water tracker there as well. I do typically track my sleep, but I've added sleep and mood and then a spot for me to track blood pressure. It's funny because I have been going to the doctor because of the sinus infection and everything I've had. And once I gave notice at my job and was preparing to start the new job, my blood pressure plummeted. It came back down to normal. So we just want to keep track of that for a little while and see if that trend stays. And then again, here on the side, I just have got the red steps and another fashion moment for Can. And then obviously the film touches are in here with the spotlight and the film strips, but not necessarily blatantly. This is a movie / film setup. Moving on to a little challenge that I like to do every month. This one is Apartment Therapy's Spring Cure. If you were here for me in January, we did Apartment Therapy's January Cure, which is focused on cleaning up your spaces, and there's a little task to do every single day of the month. This one is more towards spring cleaning and getting you started on spring cleaning, so I have added those here. This actually took place in April, but I've added it into my journal for May because in April, along with not being able to sleep or work on content, I haven't been able to clean my house. And I just, when you have clutter around you, it also clutters your mind and it makes things even more difficult. I mean, I'm certainly not living in filth, but if I were to take the camera and turn it around to my apartment right now, it's not pretty. I mean, there's just stuff everywhere because all I've had the time to do is pretty much run in, drop things, and leave. So over the last 2 weekends, I've actually spent time on my space so that I can make my space feel more livable. So this is helping with that as well. And then in my May journal, I always put in a mid-year migration so that I can plan what I want to put in my next journal. And I don't really love the gold on the red because you can't really read it very well. But my categories are must. Those are things from this journal that I must take with me to my new journal. Might, those are things that are on the bubble. Like, do I really need to take it? Do I not need to take it? What do I think about that? Migrate, this is anything that is work-wise or planning-wise that needs to make it from this one to the other one. So to-dos that I haven't finished, those sorts of things need to get migrated from this journal to the next one. Modify is a list of things that I'm going to take with me from this journal, but that they're going to get altered or changed in some way. More, this is for additional pages and sort of things that I may want to add to my journal. I've added a category of magic, and that's really just sort of the bells and whistles, those little special things that make my journal feel special to me. I can't quite figure out how I'm going to use that, but I like the idea of it, so I put it in here. And then omit, and those are things obviously that I am going to take out of my journal. I can tell you already one of those things is going to be a year-long habit tracker because that's not working for me at all. So here we go. And then I jumped straight into my weeklies, and I have 2 weeks on a spread. They're very, very simple, just to get me through to what I want to do for June. So here we have the first week of May, the second week of May. I did change the color of the font just to help delineate from one week to the next, along with a film strip and another fashion moment. I love this little polka dot dress. And then the next 2 weeks of May, again, set up very much the same. And then here is my review page for May. So again, we have the red steps, we have the fashion moment with the Louboutins, and then a film reel just to indicate all the little elements that I need to get in for the Cannes Film Festival, along with the Palme d'Or as well there. And for my wrap up for May, I always love a playlist, and then things that I'm proud of, things that I'm working on, reflection, and a list of favorites. And so that is my journal for May. And that is going to wrap up this video and sort of a quick overview of where things are with me. Now, what I do want to say is thank you. I have had so many people reach out here, leaving me comments on YouTube, as well as messaging me on Instagram just to see if I'm okay. And that means the world to me. The fact that you guys have wondered where I am, and you know that my life has been difficult, and that my mental health was struggling. Obviously, I was struggling with getting out content creation because all of those things are tied together. But none of you have been like, hey, where is your content? It has been, hey, how are you? And that has just been an amazing thing. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. Please, if you have not already, consider subscribing by hitting that subscription button below or clicking that bell notification so that you know the next time that I upload, and we are going to get our content calendar back on track. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.